Hi everyone, I'm Barry Stigers. I'm the morning host on K-High Radio, and also your host here on the Auburn News Channel 20. It's been a busy week. A lot of things have happened this week in Auburn. One tragedy, we had an air crash again at our airport. That's 2 this year. One was no one hurt. Unfortunately, this one was 2 fatals. A husband-wife team from Susanville were flying into the Auburn airport late in the evening on Saturday night. Something went wrong. We don't know yet what, but their small Cessna 170B, a classic remade aircraft, dropped into the woods only 300 feet from the end of the runway as it was attempting to land. They were in tandem with another person, that person now being interviewed by the NTSB, hoping that he can shed some light on what may have gone wrong that caused the lives of 2 people who just loved to fly. A local artist, Maggie McGurk, has had a piece of her artwork accepted by the Crocker Art Museum in downtown Sacramento. It's been accepted to be auctioned off to raise money to help the operation expenses at the Crocker. Maggie took a photograph and then turned it into a painting of another famous painting. Greg Condas, who's known as the second best artist in the state of California, has now all of his paintings on the 3rd floor of the Crocker and has been there for over 1 month. In recognition of Maggie's work, Greg, who's been a longtime friend, signed her photograph and her painting, and now that will go for auction this week. Good luck, and we're proud of you, Maggie, a local member of the Placer Arts. Another local artist was in town this past couple of weeks. Brandon Vetter has produced a movie which is an acclaimed documentary called La Source, and that is all about water. Our own Cody Hitchcock interviewed him, and here's his report.
Hello everyone, this is Cody Hitchcock for Auburn News 20. Here I have Brandon Vetter, producer of La Source. So can you explain the movie a little bit?
Yeah. La Source is about Je suis la jeunesse, who is a Haitian man who's a janitor at Princeton University. During the day, he drives a cab at night. And his dream for as long, since he was a 10-year-old kid, has been to bring clean water to his village in Haiti. And so the film follows his journey to do just that. And the Princeton community gets involved and some nonprofits get involved, and it's very much this kind of David and Goliath story of this janitor, trying to overcome these impossible odds to save his village.
Okay, Auburn is trying to raise $6,500 to provide one water well in that village. Do you think Auburn residents are going to help?
I do, yeah. I have an incredible amount of faith, actually. I have faith that we'll actually get it done tomorrow night. We've already gotten, before we've even went public with the fundraiser, the few people that known about it in Auburn have spread the word, and we've already gotten $1,100 in donations. That's not to say that all of the money raised, even above our goal, will go to other projects, but yeah, we really hope the community comes out, and it's such a tangible goal. It's one community, where there's 500 people that desperately need water, and if we can raise the $6,500, those people's lives will be completely changed. It's not like giving to cancer research or, some of these bigger problems that have their place absolutely and are amazing causes. But the nice thing about this is if we raise that money, these people's lives change completely.
You're in Auburn, and you're an Auburn resident yourself. Do you think that brings pride to the city of Auburn?
I hope so. We've got an incredible amount of support already, and all of my brothers and sisters went here to Placer High School. My mom has a business downtown. My wife's family is all here as well. So we're very much still connected to the community, and we hope the community comes out and sees the film. We just released on iTunes, so really anywhere that you can buy digital media, you can watch the film on YouTube's station, on PlayStation, Xbox, and iTunes.
Who are some of the major factors that helped you make the movie, La Source?
You know, Patrick, the director, and I really made the film together. It was both of us kind of in the trenches together every day. And I find he's one of the collaborators that I've found it the easiest to work with. And it took us 4 years to make this film, so it was very important that we got along and we saw eye to eye creatively. And so, you know, yeah, Patrick was probably the biggest influence. And, you know, when one of us was down, the other one was up, and we just kind of like found a really good language in order to talk to each other with, and a good way to support each other.
This is Cody Hitchcock for Auburn News 20. Thank you, Brandon.
Thank you.
I left her at her desk yesterday. You want to see her, Cliff?
Tony, I do not hear you clearly. Would you please repeat for me?
Il était pas chez eux, il bon côté, il tendait, les m'a brûlé. Il râlait sorti, dans tout côté, taperia.
If you're just joining us, we're following the breaking news out of Haiti. The largest, most powerful earthquake in the region's history has crippled the country, measuring 7.0. Its epicenter was just a few miles outside the capital, Port-au-Prince.
All of them got stuff, but they don't have one.
Un peu le côté de sèche. C'est un gros problème lié à travers le monde, Seigneur Jésus. Pas de l'eau, Seigneur.
This could be something that we can be really proud of. Just as a generation of people at Princeton, like, this is what we did.
Bravo! Bravo!
We will succeed. Rale sorti dans tout côté taperia dans gros malabou li mettem sous gros roche là. Au nom de Jésus-Christ qui vit qui règne dans la puissance que la gloire jamais. Amen et amen.
City of Auburn was honored again this week, one of just a few cities in the state of California being honored by the Union Pacific Railroad. They have proclaimed it as Train Town, USA. We were there with our cameras, Kevin Henley, Mike Holmes, and Dr. Bill Kirby. We were there to accept the honors and the commemorative goodies from Union Pacific. That was on Friday, May 17th.
Well, today is a special day here in Auburn because we have representatives from Union Pacific Railroad who are here to present the City of Auburn with Railtown USA designation, which UP started last year celebrating their 150th anniversary. And we're here at this location because this is where Auburn rail history began in May of 1865 with the Central Pacific Railroad arrival here in Auburn. So I want to introduce the mayor who has a few words to say, and then Lisa Stark representing the Union Pacific Railroad.
Thank you, Mike. It's our great pleasure to be Railtown USA. Thank you to Union Pacific. The railroad had huge impact on the future of Auburn. As we started in the Old Town Auburn area, and the decision of the railroad to align the tracks in this area really created a new downtown, and it really affected the history of Auburn, and we have this wonderful downtown in addition to the old town. And so the rail lines have really affected our future. It's really been positive for our development. So it's a wonderful opportunity to be Railtown, USA. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good morning. I'm Lisa Stark, Director of Public Affairs from Union Pacific Railroad, here today to recognize the City of Auburn as an official Train Town USA. The designation is part of Union Pacific's 150th anniversary celebrations. We actually celebrated our 150th anniversary on July 1st of last year, 2012. That special date marked the signing of the Pacific Railway Act by President Abraham Lincoln, which authorized the construction of the Transcontinental, which linked Omaha, Nebraska to Sacramento, California for the very first time. The Traintown USA designation is a very special designation that we have reserved for the communities that have truly grown up with the railroad. As a local girl who grew up in Auburn, I can attest to not only the history of the railroad in Auburn, but the significance that the Chinese laborers had building the tunnels that brought the railroad here, as well as the significance of just the safety aspects that the city helps partner with the railroad on as well. So with that, the first thing we would like to present to you is a proclamation by Union Pacific Chairman Jim Young, which I'll briefly state, recognizes the Union Pacific Railroad recognizes the city of Auburn as a place of historical significance to the railroad. Union Pacific Railroad does grant the city of Auburn the title of Traintown USA, and you get to have and to hold that by means of the signing of this proclamation by Union Pacific's chairman. In addition to the proclamation, we would like to present two of our 150th anniversary partner coins to the city. This is a coin that commemorates Union Pacific's 150th anniversary. It also depicts some history of the building of the Transcontinental Railroad. And again, I will present one, and we do have another one for you. Those are very wonderful. Given only to those communities, again, that have been designated Traintown USA. And then the very last thing we have for the city is an official UP Traintown USA sign, which we would be honored if you would mount that somewhere in the city, which really we think does drive home the importance that the railroad has had and the partnership that we have enjoyed with the city of Auburn. With that, thank you very much and congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's cool.
I'm standing here on Mount Vernon. There's quite a deadly bend here in the road, right where Sailor's Ravine comes off of Mount Vernon, and there's a sort of a high spot where if you try to turn, you catch the undercarriage of the car. Evidently that's what happened to the bus.
This school bus was transporting children to nearby Hidden Falls Regional Park when the driver missed the turn and attempted to make a U-turn. The bus was high-centered and the oil can was ripped out from underneath it. Probably not the best place for a U-turn, considering there is a really bad blind corner here.
Yeah, I wouldn't like to be that tow truck driver.
Local residents make the most of some time together while they wait for the traffic to clear.
The bus tried to turn around in here, and then it nice corner over there and scraped the oil can, so all the oil leaked out. So it stuck in the base of the wow. I know what these people do.
It's been terrifying for the students.
They were successful.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah, we're in.
That's
Woo! Okay.
The Placer County Water Agency celebrated a major benchmark this month. The commemorative celebration anniversary of the Middle Fork American River project came to an end.
We're gathered for the PCWA's commemorative celebration of the 50th anniversary of the Middle Fork American River Project, fulfilling 50 years of dreams. This is an auspicious occasion.
50 years, and the bonds are all paid off. It protected our water supply, and it also created a lot of hydroelectricity over those 50 years.
Fulfilling 50 years of dreams. The agency has transformed over the years, and the agency's logo has evolved with it.
Okay, what's next for the next 50 years? Well, PCWA tells us that they're in negotiation with PG&E. They've come to pretty much an agreement, and it's time just to clean up the details. The good news is that we will have another 50 years of protection of our water and also a lot of hydroelectricity.
American River Constructors, a joint venture of Henry J. Kaiser Company, Perini Corporation, and Morrison Knudsen Company. The project was so large that no single contractor could do the job. In the early 1900s, development of Northern California's mountain water resources was in full bloom. San Francisco, Oakland, and Los Angeles were all planning projects to take water out of Northern California to supply their future growth. It was Claire Engel in 1943 who advised the people of Placer County to take advantage of the newly adopted area of origin water laws and protect their water for the future. Through the late 1940s and 50s, a number of preliminary water development plans were prepared, and finally, in September 1957, Placer County Water Agency was created through a special act of the legislature that was carried by Assemblyman Francis Lindsay. One of our most instrumental leaders was Edward Tiedemann. In 1961, he was serving as Deputy Executive Director of the county and assigned to shepherd the Middle Fork project to completion. Ed would go on to serve as PCWA's legal counsel for the next 40 years. The mandate for the new agency was straightforward: to develop and protect the water resources of the county for the people of Placer County. By 1961, engineering, financial, and legal experts completed a grand development plan of the county's water resources and took the issue to the voters. By a margin of 25 to 1, Placer County residents approved a $115 million revenue bond to finance the construction of the Middle Fork project.
Placer County, California has for years been the spawning ground for a vast runoff of water coursing its way downhill toward the Pacific. From small trickles to massive snowmelts, that water winds through two major river canyons in a relentless rush to the sea.
Placer County, through its water agency, is carrying through to completion by summer of 1967 the most ambitious project ever undertaken by a single county. Under the plans of the agency, the water which ran through the county will now be used for practical purposes: for power production, industrial and domestic uses, irrigation, and recreation.
December 1964 was an extraordinary month in California. The rain and snow came earlier than usual and in heavy amounts. An unusually heavy deposit of snow had built up on the western slope of the Sierra Nevada. When the snow deposits had become quite heavy, the state was suddenly subjected to a long series of warm storms. Wave after wave of rainstorms rolled in from the ocean, pouring billions of tons of water into the valleys and onto the mountains. In the Sierra, the warm rain fell on the snow deposits, and the combination resulted in a spectacular and disastrous flood in Northern California. Rampaging rivers throughout the northern half of the state ran out of their banks, creating havoc on the north coast and spelling deep trouble for the water project in Placer County. The still uncompleted dam at Hellhole built up a powerful reservoir. Finally, on December 23, 1964, the water forced its way through and rushed down the channel. Before it, partially finished facilities were inundated and some washed away. An idea of the fury of the water was graphically seen near Auburn, where a state highway bridge across the American River was broken up and washed away. In many respects, the storm was a crushing blow, but it was not fatal. The loss of the dam and the material meant that many months of reconstruction would be required, but workmen set out to complete the project on schedule.
The Middle Fork American River Hydroelectric Project would provide a new source of water for Placer County that would be financed by the sale of electricity. French Meadows and Hellhole reservoirs would hold up to 340,000 acre-feet of water, and French Meadows, Middle Fork, Ralston, and Oxbow powerhouses would provide up to 224 megawatts of power on demand and produce an average of 1 million megawatt hours of clean, renewable energy per year. Construction of the Middle Fork project was started in 1963 and completed on schedule in 1967. Under the terms of the 50-year power purchase agreement between PCWA and PG&E, PG&E received all of the energy generated from the Middle Fork project, for which PG&E paid the debt service and PCWA's operating cost. PCWA would receive all the water supply benefits from the project, and at the end of the contract on May 1st, 2013, the original construction cost of the project would be completely paid off.
Many outstanding compliments about the Middle Fork project and how it is being financed through revenue bonds without any local, state, or federal tax monies. It is rapidly becoming known throughout America and the world as a model of what people in a local area working together can accomplish on their own. This tremendous project being built at a total cost of $115 million has been secured because you, the people of Placer County, have through determination and farsightedness given you overwhelming support to conserving the natural resources of our county and building towards the future.
In the beginning, the cost of energy from the Middle Fork project was slightly more expensive than PG&E's other sources. But by the end of the contract, the market value of the energy produced was substantially higher than the operating cost. PCWA is looking forward to the beginning of a new era in which the people of Placer County will receive the benefits of both the water supply and the net revenue from the energy produced by the Middle Fork project. Today, with recent improvements to the governor system, the Middle Fork project is uniquely capable of meeting modern, clean energy requirements while filling a critical role of helping to regulate the grid as California increases the amount of non-dispatchable energy sources. Thousands of people enjoy the recreation opportunities offered by the Middle Fork project every year. Camping and boating are two of the most popular. In 1974, the Agency Act was amended, separating the governance of the agency from the County Board of Supervisors and providing PCWA with an independently elected board. Then in January 2006, the PCWA Board and the Board of Supervisors came together in another historic effort, the formation of the Middle Fork Project Finance Authority. The Finance Authority would fund the Middle Fork Project relicensing and assure a smooth transition to a new era of marketing Middle Fork Project energy. The agency is just finishing its relicensing effort. The process took nearly a decade, but the agency was able to strengthen its stewardship of the resources and preserve the generation capacity and flexibility of the project, which are so important to the operation of today's electrical grid. The new license from the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission will provide another 30 years of certainty for the operation of the project. The Middle Fork water supply will continue to provide the vital resources needed to continue to fuel growth and economic development in Placer County. There have been challenges to operating and maintaining the Middle Fork project over the years. In 1975, a section of the Middle Fork tunnel collapsed, shutting down generation. PG&E stepped up with the funding and expertise to get the project going again. Over the years, we've had to rewind generators, replace Pelton wheels, and circuit breakers. One of the larger projects was the installation of a liner into the Middle Fork tunnel surge shaft. The liner was installed without draining the tunnel and was an engineering marvel. The other major project was widening French Meadow Spillway. The project was mandated to increase the storm bypass capacity and protect the dam in the event of the probable maximum flood. Placer County Water Agency's Middle Fork project, fulfilling 50 years of dreams. Success is really about the pride and dedication of the people who work here.
Some of our employees' photos we have, such as Larry Cassini, 1966 to 2007. He's here today. Dick Carter, he's also here, 1966 to 1986. Bob Coolidge, 1967 to 1996. Bill Grant, I know he's here. He's a young guy right on the edge of the picture. 1974 to 83, the general manager. Mark Wyatt, Gene Henry, Kelly McCall. Al Toy, 1995 to 2008. He helped lead initially our relicensing effort. Steve Jones, he's here, our power system manager number 3, 1983 to 2011. Our current power system manager, Jay Lestrange. And Jessica Wyatt and Jay Correa at our offices in Forest Hill. Fulfilling 50 years of dreams. We hope you enjoyed that 15 minutes.
Why is water so important to Placer County? First of all, we need it. You can only live 7 days without water. Secondly, is that we have to have a constant water supply for the agriculture, which is so important to our county. Thirdly, Southern California is running out of water, and they want ours. So it's a good deal. We'll keep you up to date. The Auburn Elementary School Choir, directed by Aaron Gaydon, was invited to go to Sacramento and sing the national anthem at a River Cats game, a baseball game at Raley Field. Saturday, May 18th. The City of Auburn this week got a report from its internal staff on how well we're doing with our budget process. City of Auburn has, along with only a few other cities in the state of California, tried to put in an accountability system that says that we manage based on only the amount of money that we have to spend. So this was the first update, and it turned out really well. I took the camera from Auburn News Channel 20, went down to City Hall, went out back where it's very pretty, and met with City Manager Bob Richardson. Here's what he had to say. We have the News 20 cameras behind the City Hall, and with me is the City Manager of Auburn, Bob Richardson. Bob, thanks for joining me. This week the news has been covering the fact that the City of Auburn is in pretty good fiscal shape. You're using a technique which not every city uses, and tell our audience exactly what is that technique.
Well, I think what you're referring to right now is this is the first year we've employed a performance budget. It's a way of starting to tie in the tax dollars that come into the system to actually what gets produced out in the street for folks. So what's the dollar to output ratio? And that's what we're starting to develop today.
Now, would this be, if we were to take it from government into a business situation, would this be what we would call an accountability budget?
Much closer to that. Yeah, you don't see that in most government settings today.
Now, what's been the result? You're getting good numbers, and yet we're coming out of what most cities are still hurting pretty badly from a recession.
Well, this is actually kind of the tail end of a multi-year strategy that the council has been following. And they have tried to take a very strategic approach, especially since the beginning of the recession. How do we get momentum back into this economy and get the city back on its feet? And it's worked very, very well. I mean, just some of our statistics. Every quarter since the beginning of 2011, we've had at least a 20% increase in sales tax revenues. There's very few retail vacancies in town. Homes aren't staying on the market for much more than a week. Our credit rating, this little town of Auburn, our credit rating is now the same as Rockland, Roseville, and Placer County. All of our hangars are filled at the airport. We've had a couple dozen new businesses come in out there over the last year. Every indicator shows that we are strengthening at a very rapid rate, far more quickly than most jurisdictions in the state.
Now, if I remember correctly, Bob, back a few years ago, and I'm not sure how many, there were some cuts, including, I think, your salary, where you either were frozen or you actually took some cuts. Now we're coming back into sort of a more flush period now. Do the employees get their money back?
You know, in general, everyone took a 10% pay cut and a 10% cut in benefits. We also had to lay off about a third of our employees, and it wasn't so much economically based as it was the way some of the unions wanted to deal with the city. So what we have done is completely restructure the way we work. We're able to continue working with a third fewer people and still keep all the services at the same level. So our people are doing a great job. So today we're starting those negotiations, bringing people back to where they were. I don't think we'll get everyone back to where they were right away. We do know we have big cost increases in the future. They're out of our control. So as is normal with the council, they're always looking 2, 3, 4, 5 years ahead and making adjustments today for what they know is coming financially in the future. So on one hand, we need to take care of some really great employees that we have. On the other hand, we have to make sure that the city stays financially sound into the future. And that's what the council is weighing right now.
Saturday, May the 18th was busy in Auburn, and our cameras were busy too. Our own Paula Johnston was out on Neighborhood Beat. She was at the Arts in the Park at Auburn's School Park Preserve. And here's her report.
Hi, I'm Paula Johnston with Auburn Community Television, and today on my Neighborhood Beat, I happened to stop by the little School Park Preserve, which is behind City Hall, and I happened to find Arts in the Park. And with me today is Joyce Silver. And Joyce, tell us what you do in relation to Arts in the Park.
I am a member of the Auburn Arts Commission, and this kind of was my little idea last year. I envisioned all these tents in the park, mellow music. The key word of this event is mellow. Nice food. I always like to appeal to all five senses when I put on an event. I want the taste, touch, smell, hear, see, everything.
Bound to be a successful event with all those elements. And tell us what happens at the event. What goes on here?
Well, we have local artists, and they are showing their paintings, and they're trying to sell them. We have a lot of nonprofit groups advertising their group. The Auburn Symphony's here, the Placer County Museums and Bernhardt House are here. We have musicians. We have what they call buskers, that are just people sitting around playing music and singing, and
how nice!
All kinds of nice things. Yeah.
How about food? Is there any food? I'm starting to be a bit hungry.
Yes, there is food. AAUW has hot dogs and brats, and
I'll have to go check that out in a few minutes. I like your apron. Where'd you get that?
Well,
you get that here?
Well, no, but we sold them here last year. My daughter and granddaughter make these aprons.
You say this is your second year?
This is our second year. Yeah, we started last year.
And how did it go last year?
Very well. We had way more people than we expected. It was a beautiful day, a little warmer than today, and it just was kind of easygoing. People come and go. We do not compete with the home show. People are going to all these events,
Oh, the home show is going right now?
The home show is going right now at the fairgrounds, and the farmers market is going over here. We have a plein air contest going on. Some artists are over there painting. They'll be bringing their paintings over here to be judged.
Oh, wow. Yes. How exciting. What time does that happen?
Now, noon. There's one here right now.
Oh, wow. Well, we'll definitely stick around and and watch that. Well, thanks a lot, Joyce. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Me now is Tim Grayson. And Tim, what's your part in this?
I'm one of the members of the Art Commission, and I've been intricately involved with this festival for 2 years now, and I'm involved with each and every aspect of it in some little way. I contribute to pop-ups and things like that. So
that's lovely. Thank you very much. So what is this particular booth here about?
This is our prize booth for the plein air contest, which was held this morning over at the farmers market. So these artists arrived at 8 o'clock this morning and started painting. They all had to be finished at noon. And then the three paintings are over here now. The people attending the festival here will decide who the winner is, and they will receive a cash prize.
Oh, that's lovely. How much is the cash prize, shall we say, or no?
Well, I believe it's $150 for first place.
How nice. That's lovely. You're using a word that I'm not sure that everybody understands and knows about. It's a new word for me, so
that's one of the reasons we did it, because of the fact that a lot of people haven't heard the term plein air, which means to paint out in the open. So the plein air artists commonly will work in a location like a farmer's market or out in a field or something like that. They'll meet in the morning, usually as a group. They'll do a painting, and then they all just go home. It's somewhat social in that aspect, but it's mainly the idea that you go out into the open and you make a single painting and you call it a day.
Oh, that sounds a lovely thing to go do, doesn't it?
Yes.
Is it French?
Yes, the original term was French.
So plein air, I suppose that means outside or something?
Open air, as I understand.
Open air. Well, lovely. Thank you so much for talking to us, and thank you for all your hard work to make this beautiful day happen. Hello. You both look absolutely beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
Tell me why you're dressed up in this lovely clothing.
We're representing Placer County Museums. And we actually, both of us work at the Bernhardt Museum down the street from the courthouse.
Tell us a little bit about the museums in this area.
Stacy, would you like to start?
Come on a little closer here now, Stacy.
Well, in Placer County, we do everything from the Gold Rush to the Victorian era. And we have a number of museums. We have the Gold Rush Museum, the Bernhardt Winery Complex and House. We have the courthouse, and what are some of the other ones?
There's the Griffith Quarry, and then there's the schoolhouse as well.
And how did you both come to be involved with this?
I came here on a field trip, or I came to the Bernhardt on a field trip in 4th grade with my class, and my grandma, who's actually sitting back here, she got so interested into the field trip that she wanted to become a volunteer. And so as soon as she became a volunteer, I kind of talked to her about how we could all become volunteers, because we were all so interested in the museum.
That's absolutely a wonderful story. And is that the same for you? The same
Yeah.
story, your sisters, I'm assuming?
cousins.
Cousins, okay. In your education about this time period that you're dressed in, what do you learn about the ladies or the women of that era?
Well, back then everyone loved Queen Elizabeth, so everyone, everything was nature-y and, if that's the right word, and women were very, very ladylike and very proper.
Yes, they wore a crazy amount of clothing and very heavy clothing, and they often fainted going up the stairs.
Are you too uncomfortable now in your clothing?
A little bit, but since we're not wearing like a true corset and all of the layers that they used to wear, it's not as bad.
Yeah.
Lovely. You both look so beautiful.
Oh,
thank
thank
you
you
so
so
much. That was wonderful. You've been playing the guitar for a long time?
Yes, I've been playing guitar for about 3 years.
3 years. Boy, you do a great job. Is this your dad?
Yes.
And does he teach you guitar?
Actually, we kind of started out together and we took lessons, and then we moved to Auburn, and we just kind of played together.
That's really lovely. Where did you move from?
We moved from Sonoma.
Oh, that's a nice area too. Which do you like best?
I have to say I like Auburn because it's all the pretty sights, and I made lots of new friends.
Have you? Did you go to school in Auburn?
Yeah.
How did you come to play here?
Well, we started by playing at the Auburn Farmers Market, and then we went to the Rockland, and then since we played at the Farmers Market, we got invited to play here.
Oh, that's wonderful. I'm not surprised at all. You play so nicely. Well, thank you very much. You want to give a big smile to the camera and say hi to your family?
Hi.
Wave to Mom. Hi, Mom. So, what are you two doing out here on this beautiful Saturday morning here in Auburn?
Well, actually, we're members of Pioneer United Methodist Church, and our church volunteers every day to do arts in the park, to do whatever we can to promote this event.
Wow, that's very nice of you to volunteer your time like that. Auburn is a town of volunteers, isn't it?
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about what is Arts in the Park.
Well, Arts in the Park is mainly local artists that have come together to portray, to display their talents, whether it be painting or metalware or whatever it is. You can enjoy all of them at one event.
Hi there, I'm Paula with Auburn Community Television Station. What's your name?
Patty Comer.
I just love your art. I love trees, and we're in a beautiful area of underneath the trees. Tell me something about your art.
Actually, I'm a photographer, and what I do is I take the photography and then I enhance it with Photoshop, and every piece I can make into something that's very useful.
Lovely idea. And
Yes.
do you have is this your business?
Yes, it is. I do canvases and necklaces and greeting cards and personalized tiles, and I have baby pictures into grandma's necklaces, and just something that's usually pretty usable, for the family.
Okay, tell us about your honeybee painting and how it relates to your beliefs.
Honeybees in a lot of cultures are thought of as going between worlds. And so she's the heavenly mother of the honeybee, and they've come up from Earth, and they're flying and they're going to her ear, which sometimes you'll see honeybees actually do on this Earth. They'll hover outside somebody's ear, and they're telling her all about their woes on this planet, and that she, as their protectress, is going to figure out what to do about all the bee colony collapses. And the whole idea is to bring that into reality, that thought that there will be something that comes along and helps this situation out. It's a huge problem.
Hi, you're Ellie?
Yes.
It's so nice to meet you. Tell us a little bit about your artwork.
Well, I've had this saw for a long time, and I always thought I'd paint on it. And I decided one day to do it, and I had to clean it up quite a bit. And after I got through with it, I got inspired, and I started in on the table saw blades. My husband had passed away recently and left me a stack of blades. They're probably really good saw blades, but now they're my blades.
Well, good use of blades. It's better than having them sitting in the garage collecting cobwebs.
And if you try to sell them at a yard sale, you're not going to get anything for them.
Right.
So I just got carried away. I started with oils, and then I ended up with acrylics.
Goodness me, have you always been an artist?
Oh, I am.
You are an
Yeah, I
artist.
work in clay and
I
I
see.
paint.
I see.
But this is the first time I've ever worked on metal. And I found this is easy and not easier than working on canvas.
So you're enjoying the process?
I am.
Well, thank you so much. I wish you all the luck in the world.
I'm Barry Stigers, the morning host on K-High Radio, and also your host here on Auburn News Channel 20. Have a great week. I'll see you next week.